Here we go, and hello viewers, and welcome back to Not For Broadcast. I'm your hub host, Josh24214, and last time we took care of the lockdown, and now we're officially into episode 2 of 3 episodes. So, we're going to be tackling the first news segment of the episode called The Silence on day 232. So let's dive in. And let's see how this insanity will continue. I mean, a lot of it was just in our head in the previous part, so that's basically not canon until I know. So, day 232. So let's get our beginning of our day. Turning everything on.
What? You're fired.
What for? Facial sabotage?
What?
Jenny, problem? I want her
Oh.
fired today, now.
Okay, let's get Crazy
No,
Neil.
it won't be all right, Kath. Pack up your weapons of optical destruction and get
Must
out.
be played.
You realise you're beginning
Information
to
about the
sound
ring.
creepy?
I mean it, Kath.
Stay where you
the-
are, Kath.
What's up with
Jenny,
the tape?
this
Oh,
isn't Jenny's
God, I
decision,
got it.
Jeremy, or yours.
Two.
It'll be alright, I'll talk to both.
Oh, good. You can tell him I'll return his wife's casserole dish at our dinner next week.
Dr. Adrian Atkinson Blimey returns with a new
Well, at
season
least I
of
can
sizes, and his
have
very
things
first
going back
guest
to
is
normal.
Philip Howe,
I'm sorry,
Hamilton's
Kath,
Philip.
you're gonna have to leave.
At 11:30, it's a double bill for popular transatlantic comedy That Nun.
Letting it go to your head.
She nearly blinded
10
me.
seconds,
I thought we were
everybody!
part of a team these days.
Things are better, Jeremy, you know that. Just stop being so
Going in
high and mighty
5,
and do your job.
You'll
4,
have me fired.
Ooh, there's some tension going on.
Good evening. I'm Megan Wolfe.
And I'm Jeremy Dawson. Our main headlines tonight.
The establishment strikes back. The World Council has agreed today to impose punitive sanctions on the people of this country.
The sanctions, which are broad-ranging, include restrictions on the supply of oil and gas, food, clothing, and even some medicines. But how should we react? We asked the public.
What do you think about all these sanctions?
I doubt it make a lot of difference, Pet. I've lived through 2 world wars and I smoke 40 a day. And if that ain't killed me, I doubt this will either.
Thanks, Patrick. Fascinating stuff.
Popular Prime Minister Julia Salisbury has released a reassuringly brave statement in response to the World Council's controversial announcement.
This international declaration is nothing short of outrageous. We are a democratically
Oh, God,
elected
here we
government
go.
with massive popular support. We do not recognise these sanctions, and we encourage other socially progressive nations of the world to both resist and ignore them. Advance have struck fear into the heart of the international community by showing that it is possible to have radical change for the betterment of the many. And whilst I wish we could improve other countries as much as we have our own, we do not rely on the help of others to thrive. This country is entirely self-sufficient. We are a team, now more than ever. And this team is on your side. Thank you.
Okay.
Defiant stuff. But what do you, the public, think of our government's
I
stance?
don't
Robin
know.
Short found out.
Hi there, Robin Short, National Nightly News. I was wondering if I could get your thoughts on the current government.
I'm not really very interested in politics, really. As Mother always said, leave politics to the politicians, Malcolm.
A Flard Day's Night. Following the release of the Flard-Master 5000, production of Flards are at an all-time high, requiring the new manufacturing facility in Grizzleford to move to 24-hour-a-day production.
With people finding more and more uses for the ever-versatile Flard, the team at Remington Cyst certainly have their hands full keeping up with demand.
So, is there anything better than a handful of Flards? We asked Patrick to find out. Patrick?
Could I ask you for your opinion of Flards?
Of what, Pet?
Flards.
What are they?
You know, Flards, like Flards, you know, everyone knows what Flards are. Flards.
I don't know, don't care.
Whoa.
Oh.
Is it some sort of curd?
Are you okay?
A momentary lapse of reason? Commuters across the capital found themselves somewhat bemused by the latest stunt by controversial protest group Disrupt.
In a baffling start to the day, commuters found performers outside every major station, all dressed and posed identically. Whether we're supposed to be amused or intimidated is anybody's guess, Jeremy, but most commuters didn't even stop to notice.
Well, as long as it's not some grand contemporary dance, it's probably harmless.
But how do we all feel about Disrupt and their eclectic tactics? Robin found out.
How do you feel about Disrupt?
Ah, well, now you're talking. Ruddy hero, showing us not to take it lying down like Iris here.
So you both feel they're a cause worth supporting?
Oh, Iris doesn't speak on mine, but we're pretty sure there's still one in there, aren't we, love? Wherever it is, it loves Disrupt, fighting the oinks for our freedom. And what could possibly be wrong with that?
Do you need me to get you some help?
Bubbling up, intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and Dr. Ingrid Svorsborg-Håkensvold
Oh, these
today sent a
two.
blueprint of the escape craft in which they hope to finally leave Dante's taint.
With expert opinions of the plan running the gamut from optimistically engineered to that looks like something my granddad made in his shed, it sounds like the unfortunate team are going to need all the thoughts and prayers they can get.
So what should we think about the escape plan? Patrick Bannon again.
So I'd imagine that you think this is a great plan.
Oh my God! How did you know? It's a brilliant idea. I hope everyone gets behind them so that they know that we're with them. In spirit, of course. I can't actually go diving because I'm scared of salt.
I am not a number. Applications finally opened today for the new Advanced Team membership cards, a scheme by the government to allow fast access to all the new public services being introduced daily.
The team membership cards are entirely voluntary, but will be recognised as legal identification by all major organisations, including the police, banks and, vitally, pubs and bars.
That
And of
doesn't
course,
sound
there's no
too
choice,
bad.
Jeremy.
It all seems too good to be true.
Well, you've always been a cynic. But most importantly, what should you, the public, think about the new team membership cards?
Team
Sure.
membership cards.
I don't really join things as a rule. As Mother always said, membership is mostly for unmentionables, Malcolm.
And finally tonight, back of the net, popular sports personality Johnny Hamsleeves and his fiancée Tiffany Lamour were spotted out today doing a little shopping for what many are already calling the greatest wedding ever.
We can only assume that Tiffany's latest show, My Teenage Secretions, has sold better than expected, as by the looks of things, the whole affair's about to become more expensive than Little C's shoe collection.
I don't know who that is.
But what should your opinion be of this extravagant display of wealth?
Oh my God, fantastic!
Wise words there.
Later tonight, in a bit of a switcheroo, it'll be Jeremy in the culture chair, spitting rhymes with popular rapper Jay Zus. And then we'll both be chatting with a familiar team of thespians set to take the nation by storm again.
That's all coming up
3,
on tonight.
2,
National
1,
Nightly News.
go.
First tonight, thankfully, some news as we return to our main story.
The World Council today agreed that punitive and potentially illegal sanctions should be imposed upon this country. The sanctions, which come into effect immediately, aim to stop the flow of food, fuel, and even some medicines from reaching your pockets.
Tonight, we have guests from across the continent to discuss this unprecedented situation. For Advance, Peter Clement is at his home in Lamfordshire. Are you there, Peter?
Yes, I can hear you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
A momentous day, Prime Minister. Are you shaken?
Oh, I don't scare that easy, I'm afraid, old son. And neither do the people of this country.
Well, joining us is Ivan Vodovich, Foreign Minister of Urkistan. Ivan, thank you for being here.
It's a great pleasure. You, Megan Wolf, are like strongest guard at Labour camp who wake up inside body of crazy, expensive prostitute. In my country, you will be worshipped as a god.
Okay.
Minister, as one of those arguing most strongly for these sanctions, how do you feel about Advance's defiant stance?
Advance is like man who think he have big career in movies land, when actually he in dirty sanitarium, screaming at mirror and holding tiny penis in hand.
He's clearly not from Svenland then. We have like some of the cleanest mental health care facilities in the continent.
Who's this guy?
And welcome to Svenland's Minister of Mojo, Björk. I'm sorry, we don't appear to have your surname.
It's just Björk, yeah. We don't use things like socially divisive surnames here, yeah.
Minister?
It's just Björk, yeah.
Right, Björk. Your country spoke in favour of advance at the World Council today, but you were noticeably absent when it came to the actual vote.
Well, what a surprise. The hippies didn't show up for the fight.
Actually, that's quite racist, because if you must know, we were going to go to the whole, like, voting, yeah, but it's actually the Festival of Feuerlands here at the moment, where we honor the old generations. So, like, we all had to work our grandparents clean, yeah, whilst the vote was happening, and that's, like, a really, really time-consuming process, actually.
You're like a sissy man. You have this expression, sissy man? It's like man with tiny penis who like to wash more than once a week.
Actually, that's quite homophobic, yeah,
Oh,
because...
stop winding him up, Ivan. We're not back at the Grange now. Sorry, Jeremy. Ivan and I used to play golf back in my media days.
Yeah, he always wins.
Nothing gives him greater pleasure than grinding people's gears. The more publicly, the better.
Peter, you're like man with tiny penis who think he have tiny penis, but actually he discovered that... Oh, could it be? No, it's tiny penis.
Ivan's just worried that when the rest of the world sees how well we're doing, they'll notice all that dosh that he's got squirreled away. Because that's what these sanctions are, Megan. They're the last pathetic gasp of an establishment in collapse. Wolves at the gates, Ivan, old mate.
Good. It can join others on my wall.
Actually, in Svenland, we have, like, serious animal welfare legislation. And, like, my friend Helga, she got arrested, yeah, for killing a butterfly that was hovering over her fuel thing. I mean, in English, jam sandwich.
I used to know a girl called Jam Sandwich. She was a right cracker, too. I wonder what became of her.
We seem to be wandering a little from the news here.
That's human interest, Jeremy. The real people behind the headlines and all that. So if you're watching, Jan, give us a call. Yeah. Let's see if we can't organise a reunion.
Crash, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to run it past Mrs. Clement first, eh?
Peter, you're like man trying to empty ashes of mistresses into oncoming vent. Soon you have tiny penis and beard full of secrets.
In Svenland, we don't really go in for all that restricted monogamy stuff here. We're kind of fluid, actually.
Okay, well, it seems that we are running out of time.
Yes, so before we go to the break, briefly, if you would, gentlemen, with the people of this country facing shortages and
possible shortages and power outages.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Possible shortages and power outages. Can you summarise your thoughts for us, Minister Björk?
Well, from here, yeah, you all look a bit stupid really arguing about outdated divisive concepts like money. In Svenland, we replaced currency with a system of bodily fluids back in the 1970s, and that's like really hard to sanction, actually.
Thank you, Minister Votovich.
Your country is like man who think he invented perfect trap for giant mutant hairy bear, when really he's just standing in field
holding his tiny penis. Yes, thank you, Minister. And finally, Prime Minister Clement.
Let me talk to your viewers here, Jeremy. Don't worry, everybody. Don't be afraid. Don't even lose a wink of sleep. We knew the rest of the world would react this way, and we're ready. As my old man used to say, you can't make a shite pie without blocking a few toilets.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Reassuring words there.
We'll be back.
After these messages.
We'll be back.
1 minute back.
Hey, Peter, I over your way this weekend. You fancy a quick 9?
Yeah, sure, front or back.
That's what I hope you're asking Megan Wolf for me.
She's out of your league, mate.
How bad was it?
Well, you have to be more careful.
It's all part of his long-term plan to get fired live on the news at 6 in front of the nation.
Can someone warn him it's going a little too well?
A+! Wow! Did very good on that.
This is important. New government censorship should show up in blue. Same as regular censoring. Keep an eye out for the advanced blue waveform.
But are we just only censoring the swear words?
Bow the foreign royalty.
What?
Should I just, like, curtsy?
Hang on. Have they given you the Crown Prince report?
What?
Meghan?
This is Jeremy, and he'll be interviewing you.
Yo, thanks for having me on your show, man.
It's quite alright.
Yo, just a quick one. You're not going to ask me about the chimp, are you?
Guess it goes to.
Because he put that get up on himself.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Oh god, we got a musical segment.
4, 3.
Welcome back, I'm Megan Wolf. Later, we have an exclusive first look at a theatrical sensation everyone's going to be talking about. But first, it's time to go over to the culture spot with lovely old Jeremy Donaldson, who's joined by a very special guest. Jeremy.
Thanks, Megan. I have the honour and privilege of being joined by hip-hop royalty. He's been called the son of the streets and the father of truth. Not sure how that works, but whatever. Let's welcome Jesus!
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, it's a real honour to be here on your show, The News. You know, as a kid on the streets, I used to watch you through a window of the shop, so to be here right now is crazy.
You've had quite the journey to be here today. Can you tell us about it?
Well, you know, I try not to, well, you know, the past is the past, and I don't like to dwell on it.
I understand.
But yeah, man, the streets is all I remember. Like, my mother donated me to a charity shop soon after I was born. Elderly lady took pity on me. You know, she let me sleep on a pile of crime fiction until I taught myself how to walk.
Wow, that's quite the childhood.
And she died tragically. Right there in my arms, man. You know, I remember a tear falling as she laid there next to the used homeware. And in that moment, I became a child of the streets. I was just 18 months old.
What a tale. What a tale. You're known for your direct and honest lyrics. Was your style informed by your troubled past?
Oh, like I said, I try not to talk about it. It's just too hard.
Of course,
But my first album is about the story of the first 4 times I stole, so I wouldn't starve. A small group of infants came to see me as their de facto leader. They call me Mr. Cheese Slice. Anyway, we were like a family.
So it would seem. Recently, you've been quite outspoken about the government.
Yeah, fuck the government. Fuck Advance. Fuck Peter Clement.
What is it that you object to so vehemently?
Well, you know, they stole from us. They're taking our money and spending it, man.
Redistributing it. Actually, homelessness has been all but eliminated in the last couple of months.
So?
Surely that's a cause close to your heart?
Yeah, nah, of course, man. Very much so. I just mean, like, why do I have to pay for it, you know?
You don't. People have been rehoused on property seized from the historically wealthy. And that couldn't have been you, could it?
Look, yeah, I worked hard to be here. I built this from nothing, and I deserve to be rewarded for that.
Would you say you worked harder than, say, a farmer or a care worker?
I don't know. But if people are taking something from my music, choose to value it, buy it, who's to say I don't? And no one can take that away from me.
Not even to help, say, vulnerable children? Mr. Cheese Slice?
What is it you're trying to say?
I just don't understand where you've placed yourself politically. I mean, is it ideological or is it tactical?
Well, it's more of
Or
like...
maybe it's hereditary.
Stop trying to tie me in knots with your words, Jeremy. I let the music speak for itself. And the people agree with me.
Well, that remains to be seen. But you have given me a very easy segue out of a conversation that I promise you was much more painful for me than it was for you. So here he is with his hit song, Mrs. Ludlow's Tears.
Oh no, I'm going to do something a little different. It's a new single I've been working on.
Oh, so this is unapproved, is it?
Yeah. You love it.
Excellent. Don't worry, we've got a state-of-the-art censorship system. What's the worst that could happen? So here he is with a new song. Aren't we lucky? It's Jesus!
First, you're gonna pay up.
Uh-oh.
You're gonna pay back.
Oh no. Getting to the government.
Well, we're all different races from many different places. At any given moment, only one could be the greatest. So you can feel the elation from your participation. Still two leaders in this motherfucking nation. Now we're getting sanctioned, talking about expansion. Why does Julius require a massive fucking mansion? So fuck all your schemes. I don't need your freaky team, and I don't need your help to achieve my fucking dreams. So don't make a fuss when you find you're one of us. Get every single one of you's a bit Jesus. And you can call me crazy, cause no one ever pays me. But I won't waste a lifetime being motherfucking lazy. I may be inventive, my taste may be expensive, but why would I get out of bed with no fucking incentive? Although it's contravention of your obvious intention, I like to eat a little of the fruits in my invention. It make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. The best of the brace, of the press of the wave, cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clement's motherfucking head. Cause he's fit as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time he's torn apart with a motherfucking pitchfork. So this is for the snubbed ones, the pushed and the shoved ones, the folks to feel the burden of their motherfucking loved ones who had plenty like a motherfucking Bentley, the ones who now finding that their bank accounts are empty, the ones of aspiration, who actually flee a nation, the ones who built a business out of dreams of perspiration. There's all sorts of people, the good and the evil. It only takes a glance to see we're not all equal. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our needs are not the same. And the best of the praise, of the press of the ways, cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Gonna take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clement's motherfucking head. Cause he's fake as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Touchdown a castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Get out of your seats, get your asses in the streets, set a fire in the building, let him feel some fucking heat. Take your hate to go getters, the squealing pet letters, and burn them on the powers of advanced fucking letters. Gonna take this track, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clement's motherfucking head. Cause he's fit as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time to store the person with the motherfucking pitchfork. Chase that dream, you don't need a fucking team. And advances little dances on as harmless as it seems. Cause they're staying and corrupt.
I don't really agree censoring people's opinions.
Jesus there with his new song. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. I'm sorry. I may not agree with you, but I'd just like to offer you an apology. I've just been told that there was some kind of issue upstairs, and an attempt was made to censor some of your notes.
What? Are you joking?
I'd just like to say to you and everyone at home that this was a mistake.
This is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe this is absolutely ridiculous.
Here at the National Nightly News, we pride ourselves on remaining neutral, unbiased, and independent of any outside interference. You have my word. We will never censor ideas.
Yeah.
Back to you, Megan.
A bit of dangerous language there.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Well, thank you to little Jeremy Donaldson for providing our
Oh, we're almost done.
Coming up, we'll be speaking to a couple of familiar faces about their upcoming dramatic
3,
outing. Don't go away.
2,
we'll be right
1.
back after this.
Done.
Just a reminder, fixing that old VCR.
No, it's ridiculous. Who's
Last ad break.
This is just a mix-up, I'm sure. Now, if you come with me, I really do have to ask
Whoa,
you.
this is getting
My father's
violent.
going to hear about this.
I understand.
And we intend to make sure that in these
This is unbelievable, Megan.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jeremy.
fair share of the abundant, nutritious food.
B! Wow, I did very good in that segment. But yeah, the government, this new censorship from Advance, that's kind of getting a little sketchy for me. Like, I don't agree. I kind of agree with Jeremy that I would rather stay neutral and let the people have their opinions, but censoring opinions is kind of starting to go bad.
Megan, Jeremy, you remember Mr. Algebra?
Vividly.
And Mr. Harris, and this is Ms. Raiden.
What?
Philippa, please.
We're back together again, eh? Who'd have thought it?
Perhaps a lower order demon.
Yes, it is awfully exciting, isn't it?
Right, okay then. We're going live in 10 seconds. Opening
Doing
on
super
camera 1.
good.
Let's keep on setting a shining example.
5,
Together.
4, 3.
Welcome back, and no, you're not mistaken. Sitting across from us are some very familiar faces.
You really are too kind, Megan. It was only a yogurt commercial, but I'm still proud of it.
Here to talk about his new show, we're joined by National Treasure Tommy Harris, the National Theatre's Philippa Raiden, and National Deficit Jeff Algebra.
It's so lovely to have you all. Tommy, would you like to tell us about the show?
You know what? I'd bloody love to. It's about me. It's about my life.
And where did the idea come from?
So, right, picture this. Their legs akimbo, mid-session, sweat is pouring out of me like an immense hog. And then Cindy comes in, she says, Pete's on the phone.
That's Peter Clement, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, Pete's actually a really good mate of mine.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, no, he comes to training sometimes. He's actually a pretty good goal sweeper. Anyway, so, yeah, Pete, he says, Toby, he thinks my name's Toby, see? He says, how would you like to spread your message of team spirit and cooperation across this fractured nation? How would you like to really make a difference in these desperate times?
What did you say?
Yeah, right.
What did you say?
So, Jeff, the question on everyone's lips is, what in God's name are you doing here? God's name are you doing here?
After the success of my debut work and all the people that I've touched, I knew that I had a career in theatre. I've always been an admirer of Tommy from afar. So when my manager phoned and said that I'd been offered the gig as director, I was ecstatic. I whipped my trousers off and got straight to work.
Why did you do that?
I do all my best work with my trousers off.
Yeah, I've been told that too.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Right, Tommy, sorry, would you just give us a sense of what the show is actually about?
It's about how hard it's been for me and some of the struggles that I've faced. It's like really getting to the heart of how tough it is to be me. I call it Tommy Harris. Jesus, that was hard.
Catchy. We actually have some clips of the process of the show. Would you mind telling us what's going on here?
Yeah, so the show is built around two things that are very important to me. It mixes scenes from my life as well as epic fantasy retellings of scenes from my life.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
I'm sorry, son. You're an embarrassment.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
Back, demon! Back to the hells!
What the hell?
Philippa,
That's some copyright
what's
stuff.
it been like co-starring with Tommy Harris?
I've always dreamed of treading the boards at medium-scale regional theatres, Megan. And for once, this show really gives me something to sink my teeth into.
What's different about this show then?
Tommy, Mr. Harris's show really lets me show my tremendous range as an actor. I've always suffered from typecasting, forced to play the same tired characters in every god-awful yogurt advert or godforsaken soap opera or, God forbid, a pantomime. But, you know, this show has really let me just go there.
Jeff, the viewers at home will be dying to know exactly what is it that you bring to the show? What is it that you bring to the show?
I think these guys would agree with me when I say that it's my steady hand on the tiller, my arm round the shoulder approach that's really brought the production from strength to strength.
Absolutely right. Jeff's contributions are immeasurable. He was our rock.
Can you give us a sneak peek of anything else that might be in the show?
Yeah, all sorts, yeah.
Yep. We've got lots of exclusive first-hand experiences of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
And some epic fantasy retellings of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
Very, very interpretive.
You'll never take the sacred path!
And am I right in saying this was officially commissioned by the government?
Yeah, all paid for by the taxpayer, which, you know, to be honest, was actually a lifesaver, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that without Advance's support, we'd have had to cut the finale.
Which frankly would have been a travesty.
Oh, God, Jesus Christ!
Goodness, and you do this every night.
Absolutely.
You do this every night.
It's a metaphor. Absolutely.
For what?
It's a metaphor.
For what?
Death.
And the public are footing the bill, are they?
Too bloody right they are. Between the cost of my tour bus and the dry cleaning and my ties, I'm barely scraping a profit here.
Amazing. And where can the folks at home come and see this for themselves?
We're performing all over the nation.
And people can see it for absolutely free, all courtesy of Advance. Isn't that incredible, Jeremy?
Yes, it's unbelievable. Yes.
Well, thank you all so much for coming. Next time we see you, no doubt, you'll have taken our jobs.
That's all we have time for tonight. Join us tomorrow when I'll be interviewing the world's most attractive horse. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolf.
3,
and from all of us,
2, 1, done.
That's the ads. Let's get rid
All right.
Hey, we must stop
Yeah,
punking
Jeremy's
each other
getting
like
a
this.
little aggravated. Not liking this. B, wow. I did very good this time around. Okay, A+, that was really good. B, oh, a broadcast grade A, thanks. Yeah, the song sequence couldn't get into the beat. But I think, yeah, I'd probably say some rude words were, oh, an interference-free show, an excellently poor edit, advanced anchored by content. Yeah, I won't uncensor ideas. Small bonus. What? I'm poor? Starting to get rid. Oh. Okay, that was weird. Well, at least everybody's happy. And I don't think we have to see some of the rushes because I think we can get the general message of what's going on with Jeremy and what's going on inside the studio with Jeremy getting angry at all this bullcrap. What's going on with Advance, but I'm starting to get a little worried. And yeah, now I'm starting to get a little worried about Jeremy, that he might do something stupid. But I kind of agree that everybody is entitled to their opinion, and I won't censor ideas. A letter worth climbing. It's lazy Sunday afternoon in summer, with you and Sam making the most of both kids being out of the house. You bang your head coming out of the cupboard with at least 2 slices of homemade cake. It used to be much easier when you could store things in the pantry. It's rare for you and Sam to actually get to finish sweet things in this house, and you're savory every moment. Just as you take your last bite, you hear the sound of the front door slamming. That'll be Charlie coming back from the go-getters. You can hear him practically running to come find you, and he's grinning from ear to ear when he finally does. I have some really big news. You and Sam play along, sitting idly with bated breath. Ready? Charlie asks, as both of you nodded enthusiastically. With flourish, he reveals a brand new badge from his pocket and proudly presents it to you both to examine as he announces, as of today, I am a member of the first tier of the Coalition Cadets. There's way more stuff I'm going to be doing, and I'll be working some weekends, but it's really cool. Sam congratulates Charlie, but you can't help but frown. This seems to be a big step up for teenagers. You and Sam grin back at your son. You're thrilled that he's happy and you're doing well. Ah, he's doing well. Sure, nothing bad can happen. Day 257, a grown-up child. You always have dinners as a family for the important events, and tonight is no exception. You even invited Chris around as an olive branch, or Sam did, and that's why, apparently, it'd be the last time you all going to be together for a while. So far, you managed to avoid fighting with Chris or Susie over politics, which Sam is no doubt grateful for. With her exams and your work, you not seen much of Susie lately. Of course, it's a squeeze having your mom and Chris around, but you make it work just like Christmas. Hopefully with a fewer outbursts. So, Alex, I believe you had a few words, Sam pointed as, nodding towards Susie. Your daughter cocks an eyebrow with a quick little expression, and you can't help but seem to be a little of yourself in it. Ah, yes, of course. What's this about? Susie asks, laughing as she takes a drink of her champagne and just its sparkling wine. Sam made a point this afternoon that it was a big day and that you should all just be celebrating her achievement. So our little Susie, come on, out with it, Alex. We're waiting, Chris laughed, clicking in glasses with Susie. Chris seemed to be good-spirited at least, even if they're cleaning in unhelpfully as usual. I just wanted to say we are proud of you, Susie. You're doing well done for getting into med school. Please, Chris, I just wanted to say, oh, Susie Machil's smile becomes a grin as she gets up, comes around to the table and gives you a hug. I'm gonna miss you. You can see Sam start to tear up as they stand to join the embrace. Miss us? Are you going somewhere? Good question. Susie laughs, breaking the hug. No, you're not getting rid of me yet, but I'll probably have to leave when I get my first posting. Oh, hush now, let's not talk about that. Sam cuts her off, smiling. The rest of the evening passes as a happy blur, and even Chris behaves themselves. You can be prouder. Looks like things are starting to work out for me. 278. A sign of things to come. Shopping, something that always seemed so tenuous before the sanction, have become even more than a chore now. You managed to get almost everything you needed for the family this evening, but you have to come back tomorrow to get through the week. There's a queue to leave the car park, though it's hard to make out why in the dark. Hopefully, whatever is causing it won't be long. As the final car in front of you drives off, you realize the queue is actually due to a checkpoint set up at the exit. A friendly-looking man in the advanced uniform, CCO embellished on a number of plates on it. As you approach your car and knocks on the driver's side window, you roll it down. Good evening, nothing to worry about. I just was wondering if I could see your team membership card, please. Weren't these cards supposed to be voluntary? I'm sorry, I don't have one. That's no problem. We got forms for us right here, and we're more than happy to sign you up. The man gestures at his colleague behind him, a young woman in a similar uniform. She clearly received the short end of the stick and is stuck with the paperwork. Well, I suppose I might as well, as you were. Wait. I thought these cards weren't required. Well, strictly speaking, they are not, but there are also loads of benefits having them. And no reason not to get one. His smile fades a bit when he puts a hand up to scratch the back of his neck for a moment. He leans into you. His perspective now seems a little intimidating. You make a good point. Sign me up. He gestures to his colleague, come over here, as she quickly takes down your personal information, employment history, and also that of your family. There's quite a bit of more than you were expecting, and the level of detail required is a little surprising too. Still, a few minutes later, you're done, with the promise of your very own team membership card wailing in its way to you soon. saves you having to stop at the queue next time. Yep, that's all great, thanks. Don't forget to keep an eye out for the new Team Loyal Lottery starting up soon. Loads of great benefits to be won. You have a nice day now. The man is all smiles as he pats the bonnet of your car and waves you off. Free prizes just having for a card? Fantastic. So are these cards mandatory now? Yeah, I'm starting to get a little worried. Yeah, like, there's something going on here. 290. An invitation worth ignoring? It's a Saturday, one of your few days off, and you made the most of it. But as late afternoon draws in, the invitation spits pinned to the fridge, staring anxiously at you. The Channel 1 Gala is a mandatory work event. Bozeman was very quick to tell you. Also, don't you dare be late. It's probably not wise to risk Bowman's wrath. Better go. Best get ready. You wonder if Sam will give you a lift. A drink or two might help with the enforced office socialing. Hopefully it won't be too bad. After all, you're pretty good at your job, right? A national news night. You arrive on time, barely at the Salutation, one of the oldest and grandest hotels in the capital. You're surprised to see a queue to get in and quickly realize it's because people are being searched at the door by some very military-looking personnel with a smart attire. While you're waiting, you can't help but notice just how very opulent the building is, possibly the fanciest place you've been in your life. You submit and being patted down with a slight relief that you are let into the hotel. Once inside, you are directed to the grand ballroom, and following the signs, you marvel at the sheer scale of the place and the amount of armed security guards. When you finally arrive, a very severe-looking woman at the door asks for your name. Oh, I'm Alex Winston. She curiously checks her list before whispering something into the waiter behind her. Oh, you made it just in time to be seated before dinner. Please, follow Emile here to your table. The waiter smiles at you and opens one of the greatest double doors, gesturing for you to enter. Immediately, you can see why it's called the Grand Ballroom. You pause for a second to take it all in. You feel a slight tap of your arm, and Emile gestures you to follow him. He sits you at the table in the central floor area with a decent view of the stage. Clearly, you're in Bozeman's good books at the moment. You sat with some colleagues that you've seen around the Channel 1 offices before, but you don't know that well. One of them informs you far too arrogantly it is a very cooperative evening for awards and speeches. At least food should be good. Dinner is indeed lovely, and with the help of the not doubt very expensive wine, consideration flows easily through. The fact that much of your surprise, you're actually presented with an award for Best Newscomer for the Channel 1 family. Well, this is unexpected. As you walk in up to the collected, you recognize the presenter as Dr. Everson Blamey of Incurious fame. He thanks Evans for supporting this year's gala before specifically thanking Prime Minister Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement for being in an audience tonight. As you take the stage, you see the frontmost central table does indeed seat the Prime Minister as well as Bozeman, Meghan, and some other very well-do types that you don't recognize. That explains all the security. As for your award, Dr. Everson Blamey asks if you'd like to say a few words. You're a little nervous and sputter out the quick phrase of events and gentlemen. You make a joke thanking Dave for fleeing the country and leaving you with his job. I don't want to hurt Dave. You know what, let's make a joke out of it. Most of the room breaks out in public laughter, but you see that neither Prime Minister cracks so much as a smile, and nor does Bozeman. He's too busy, frankly, flipping between examining Peter and Julia for a reaction, glaring daggers at you. Eventually, they'll join in the light applause as Armin ushers you back to your seat. That may not have been the smartest move, yeah. Just as you finish up dinner, one of the other people of your table points behind you. As you turn around, see Bozeman walking briefly past with Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement in tow. You're pretty sure that he was pointedly ignorant of you. He seemed to be introducing the Prime Minister to a selection of people at different tables. Better them than me. To finish off the rest of your meal, listen to the last few speeches and then head home. All in all, it was a surprisingly nice evening. You might actually look forward to the next one, providing Bozeman invites you to that one, of course. So yeah, Mr. Bozeman is not a bad person, and yeah, I shouldn't have not made that joke. And we're in the second news segment. And I think I did very well so far. The heat wave. Oh god, this is not gonna be easy. So yeah, we're gonna have to cut things off, and yeah, next time we will be tackling the heat wave. And that is day 296. So until then, have a good day everybody, and I'll see you on the very next part of Not For Broadcast, and I'll see you all next time. And I hope you all have a good day, and just stay safe, and until then, have a good day everybody, and I'll see you next time, and have a fantastic day. So, bye for now.